Today we have a very special story about a belly dancer since long time, and she did a lot of bad and good things. Her life was full of drama, comedy, and tragedy. She changed the way the dancers think on the stage and out of the stage, yes, also. And she created a type of dance. We still use it until now. A lot of us love to do it on the stage very much. Of course, I will explain you a lot of things about her story, which was very difficult to find it because a lot of people explained strange things about her, right and wrong. For this reason, I tried to find the real story about her life, which I hope you like it, of course. I tried to find her real name, but it was very difficult because she died since long time, and of course was very difficult to run after her life story and these points, which I will explain to you step by step. But her name is Shafiqa Al Qibtiyya. As you heard, her name is Shafiqa Al Qibtiyya. Al Qibtiyya, it means Coptic, and Coptic, this name was not her real name, really her name, but she used this name just to tell you that she is Coptic. And in Egypt, when we say something like this, it means Christian, but of course we are Egyptian, and all the Egyptians, or let me say, all the Egyptian people, they are Coptic people. Muslims or Christian, they are Coptic. But in these days, they're using this name just only for Christian people. Anyway, in this time, in her time was long time, of course, there were no difference between Coptic or Muslims or even Jew people. All of them, they were live in the society with peace and no big problems as we hear now. Anyway, I'm not talking about this, but let us start step by step to let you understand her life. Her family, they came from Asyut, and Asyut, it is a city, a famous city in Upper Egypt. But she was born in Cairo around 1851. When she had 14 years old, one day she was walking in a street in front of cafe. This cafe was near to her house. This cafe belongs to conductors. One of them saw her, fell in love with her, then went to her family asking to marry her. Normally in this time, even until now, we have engagement party and then wedding party. He asked for the engagement party, they agreed, and they did this party. Also, the habits, which since long time until now, if we have a wedding party or engagement party, we hiring Oriental dancer or belly dancer dancing for the people. So they hired an Oriental dancer for them, but she didn't came in this time. She was late. She came but late. Suddenly, Shafiqa said that why not if she can go and dance. She started dancing in her engagement party. All people who are set look at her, they loved her very much. She performed wonderful and they loved her very much. During her dancing, suddenly the Oriental dancer or the belly dancer arrived. Saw her, of course. She stopped and wait until Shafiqa finished, and after that they asked her to dance, but she refused. Why? Because she was afraid to dance after Shafiqa. She told her that Shafiqa, you danced very well and your performance was fantastic. How can I dance after you? If I do something like this, all these people, they will hate me or laugh onto me. For this reason, she didn't dance in Shafiqa's engagement party. This was the beginning of her life, or let me say, of her art life. This is the beginning, actually. After a few months, the family invited for another girl from the big family of them, a rich family. Her mother and her, I mean Shafiqa and her mother, they went to this engagement party too. Over there, or let me explain you something. Long ago in Egypt, if they have a party in the with the ordinary people in the society, if they have a party, men, they have to stay in a place far a little bit from women. So women, they stay or they sit in another place. And normally when a dancer coming, she dance only for women, not for men. It was something like this. In this time, all of women, they sit together, they have been sit together, and the Oriental dancer or belly dancer, she came and started dancing for women, and forbidden any man from men place can come, enter the area of women or look at what they are doing. This was long time in Egypt. I think it was in many places all over the Arab countries, yes, also. Anyway, the dancer start dancing, and normally the dancer, she dance or she perform for a little bit of time, then she take a rest, and then she come back again and do the second performance for her, and then the third if it is, and so on until she finish. The dancer in this time, she danced for a while, then she had a rest. During the rest, and this is normal until now, by the way, in Egypt, if the dancer, she is going outside for a long time or something like that, the audience or the people, sometimes they stand up and they start dancing too. It is the same until now, even all over the Arab countries too. Anyway, the dancer, she finished her part and she went out to take a rest. And normally women, some of them, started to dance. Suddenly Shafiqa started to dance too. All of them, they have been sit down and they will look at her because her performance was fantastic, as they said in her story. The Oriental dancers saw her and she loved her very much. She loved her performance very much. She found that this girl dancing wonderful, dancing very well. So for this reason, after that, the Oriental dancer started once more again her second part. After she finished, went to Shafiqa's mother and asked her for something very important. But let me tell you, the Oriental dancer, which I forgot to tell you about her name, the Oriental dancer, her name was Shok. This Oriental dancer was very famous long ago in Egypt, as I have been read about her in some books, talking about her. Shafiqa finished her dance, and then the Oriental dancer started once more again. After that, went to Shafiqa's mother and asked her if she can let Shafiqa dancing with her in another parties. Of course, after she asked this question, her mother was looks like someone fighted her. In this time, long ago in Egypt, in the ordinary families, if someone or in the society was forbidden or very bad to let their daughters dancing or do dance or may do this type of art. For this reason, her mother was very sad, upset, and started to be a big problem. And she said to her, how you can ask me something like this? It is forbidden, and how can I do this? How can I let my girl dancing? And so. The Oriental dancer said, okay, we are sorry. She started to say that she is sorry to ask her something like this. The audience, or let me say the people around her, also they went to Shafiqa's mother and said to her, please forgive us. It is something very bad, of course, but forgive us of what had happened. The mother took her daughter Shafiqa and they start to move out of the party. During this time, what had happened exactly? Shafiqa looked at Shok, the Oriental dancer, and winked to her. This was exactly the beginning of fame. Let me say something like this. Of course, after Shafiqa winked to the Oriental dancer, she understood exactly what Shafiqa will do. After that, on Sundays, as usual here in Egypt, the families, when they go to the church for the Sunday's Mass, she went with her mother to the church, and she started to ask about where she can find Shuk, the Oriental dancer. She tried until she found someone helped her and told her where she lived. Then she went to her after that, after maybe 2-3 Sundays or something like this. After she knows exactly, then she went to her. And she explained to her, or she told her that she was the girl who winked to her in this party. Of course, Shok, she understood and she knows exactly that this girl was this one. She saw her in this party. She told her that she was a good dancer and she did a wonderful performance, and why not if she can teach her much more. And she started teaching her. During this time, every Sunday's Mass, she going with her mother to the church, and after the Sunday's Mass, she asking her mother to stay longer in the church because she wanted to pray. Sometimes during the week, she asking her mother also to go to the church and something like this. It was not to pray, but she was going to Shok, the Oriental dancer. After a while, she became perfect, and suddenly Shok asked her to stay with her for good. In the beginning, Shafiqa was afraid, but Shok told her that she will travel to Upper Egypt for about 6 months and she will perform over there, and she wants her to be with her, but she will give her £1 per day. £1 per day. £1, it means in this time much money. Looks like 1,000 Egyptian pound now, or much more, something like this. Much more than 10,000 Egyptian pounds nowadays. She agreed and she said to her, okay, let's go. Shok told her that she have to forget her family and she can stay with her for forever, and they will do a lot of good things, and she will earn too much money and she will be much rich. Wow, wonderful. Yes, okay, then they went. After 6 months, they came back again to Egypt, to Cairo, and in Cairo, she started to look for a place for her or something like this, but Shok refused and told her that she can stay with her at her home. A few years later, Shok died. It is like that. And this time was too much pandemics and many things like that during this, epidemics and something like this. But anyway, let us say now she died. Let us complete now the story. And by the way, she died very young, by the way. Suddenly, Shafiqa found herself alone in this wonderful building or house, big house. Too much money she left for her. Shok left it for her under her hands, and wow, a wonderful life. in this time long ago was not same like now. If someone died or something like this, they bury them quickly and no problem with papers and something. No. Was not same like today. So finished, buried her and finished. People, they were looking for shock, of course, for their parties, and all the time Shafiqa says that she is already can do this, and she going with them, dancing with them, and say that shock will come after me. But shock never comes. Day by day, Shafiqa became much more famous all over Cairo, and a lot of people, they were asking for her to dance for their parties. Her father or her family were looking for her everywhere, but she disappeared until someone told them that she is living in this area, and she became much more famous and have a lot of people around her, which it means not so easy to talk with her. So be careful. She know a high class in the society, and she is a dancer. Her father was very sad and went to the church asking a priest for help. One of the priests told him that maybe he can go and talk with her, which he already went to her and started talking with her. Shafiqa, please come back again. He asked her to come back again to her family and stop dancing, but she refused. And she told him that if my family want to come and stay with me, they are welcome. All of them are welcome, but I will never go back again to my family. He went back to her father and to her family and told him this. This is the story of her family, and there is no information I found for her family except what I explained to you. After that, Shafiqa bought a casino. Was a very big casino. By the way, this casino was, or let me say, were over 70 Oriental dancers or belly dancers were dancing in 70, which is huge. A lot of people, a lot of dancers. So they were dancing in this casino. And this casino was only for the wealthy people in the society. So it was for the high class in the society. During this time, Egypt was not or haven't electricity. For this reason, was very difficult to light this area or this place or this casino actually. For this reason, she asked or she had around 350 chandlers. These chandlers, each one of these chandlers have around 10 candles. 10 candles, and of course was very difficult for only one man or something like this can help. For this reason, she had around 70 workers just only for chandlers. If one candle finished, he can change it for a new one, and so on and so on, and all the whole night. So see now how big was very big actually. Life was running like that, and she became much more famous. And of course, let me tell you that a lot of wealthy people from everywhere all over Egypt they entered this area, also foreigners, because, or let me explain you, her dancing was fantastic, was for them. And these people in this time, they were love very much the fat women, not the thin women, same like today. She was a little bit fat, and she created a special type of dance called El Fanar. What is the meaning of El Fanar? I think most of you know this word maybe. This is the lighthouse. The lighthouse was, or her dance, her performance, she created this, by the way. a table have cups full of water and candle. She hang the candle over her head, and she carry this table with this cups of water, full of water, onto her stomach, and she move or dancing using all of these things. Without one drop of water can drop down, water drop down, or candles can fall down. It was something like that. She started to be much more famous with this type of El Fanar, which it means exactly that. We can say the candlestick dance, or the beginning of candlestick dance, started from this time actually. And the name was, or the old name of this type of dance was El Fanar dance. El Fanar dance. Now we say candlestick dance. As I told you, a lot of wealthy people, they entered this casino, and she started to have a good relationship with all of these people. One of the comedy things that one of these wealthy people, he bought around 100 bottles of champagne and let her horses drink it. By the way, another one. He bought her three vehicles, one for the morning, one for the midday, and one for the evening. During this time, Egypt or many places all over the world and haven't this type of cars we have it now, but vehicles with horses. So he bought her three. The other one, he bought 100 bottles of champagne to let her horses drink it, and they drank it already. This is one of the funniest things. Another one, by the way, he fell in love with her very much, and he went to her house, and he pretended as a dog, as she asked him to do something like that. And she asked him next day, when he entered the casino, he have to do something. What? She told him that when you entered the casino, I will tell you about it. Then the second day, she asked him to drink whiskey from her, or using her shoe, which is already dead, something like that in the movie. I think some of you saw or watched this movie too. Another one bought to her a shoe sole with a gold shoe sole, a gold shoe sole, yes. It was something like that, and she earned too much money. Even she traveled to Europe, to many places in Europe. She danced in many places in Europe too. In France, they asked her to dance over there also, and to do an advertising for a big, in this time long ago, for a big company, a perfume company, and they wrote her name to this type of perfume. It was something like that. Was wonderful life, and too much things like this, and became much more famous in many places all over the world. She became old, and she tried a lot to get a baby, but she cannot pregnant. For this reason, she she asked to have a child. And she already did. But the problem was, this child, when he grew up, he was a drunk child and stoned child. Yes, also, or stoned, or man, let me say, young. He drank a lot and too much drugs and something like this, until his wedding party. After his wedding party, actually, he smoked a lot and used a lot of drugs, so he died. She was very sad, of course, for this, but had happened also with her. As I told you in the beginning, a lot of comedy things, drama and tragedy. She became much more older, and people started to not look for her, and another dancers appeared, and the people they tried to look at them, or they went to them much more than her. She became much more older, and her face, her body, and something, as you know. Then she started to lose her money, step by step, to lose her money until she became a poor woman. Disappeared once more again for a while, and then people found her in the street without money, without anything, just walking as an old woman, and nobody was look at her. It seemed like before. The beginning of 1926, Sayyid Darwish was walking in a street here in Cairo, and suddenly found an old woman in the street, and he recognized her. She was Shafiqa Al Qibtiyya. He went to her. By the way, he was working in her casino long ago, so he knows her exactly. He went to her and started talk with her. She was an old woman with dirty clothes and in the street. He went to her and asked her what had happened exactly. In the beginning, she didn't know him, but after that, she recognized him and told him that she don't want anything from life. She became an old woman, 70 years old, 1926, 70 years old. And she told him that she lost everything in her life, and she became very poor like that. He asked her to come with him to his house, but she refused. But she asked him only one question, was very strange for him and for us and for you too. I mean, for us, you and me. If I tell you, I will explain you. She asked him for fish, just fish. What did that mean? She wanted to eat fish. That's it. This woman, what she did during her life, all of this money, all of this wonderful life, and in the end, she asked fish. She haven't money, she hasn't money to go and buy this for her, to buy this food for her. She asked him for fish. He cried, and he bought her food. Asked her a lot to go with him to his house, but she was refusing all the time, or she refused all the time, and asked him to leave her. After a while, a few days more or something like that, people found her found a body in a street of an old woman died, and nobody knows her. But suddenly someone told them that this body belongs to Shafiqa Al Qibtiyya. Was a big hard story in the end, but that is exactly what had happened with her. Then they buried her and finished. This is the story of her, of course. This woman was playing with gold, was playing with vehicles, with these people, a lot of money, a lot of gold, traveled everywhere, all over the world, created a new type of dance, as I explained to you, and she changed the way of dancing for the people or the dancers, the way of their minds, and many beautiful things like that. Some of us love it very much, but she vanished in the end like this way, which is disaster way or hard way, if I say. Let us now talk about her dance. As I have been read about her dancing, was fantastic during this time. Even she created this type of dance, which I'm very happy to know the beginning or the name of the dance, which is El Fanar dance, which later changed to be candlestick dance. She was the first one did something like that in the street, in the stage or on the stage in her casino. And also, let me tell you that if we look clearly to the explanation of using the table or carry the table onto her stomach with these bottles or these cups full of water, looks like, let me say, like acrobatic steps, because these people since long time they were not looking for dance or dance steps as we think now. So she mixed it between the acrobatic dance steps or the acrobatic steps and dance steps. Let me say something like this. Was something very new in the society in this time. Also, foreigners, they saw her and they loved her very much. They loved this type of dance very much, or performance, let me say, loved it very much, which I found it, or I saw it, I watched it also in many old performance from foreigners and Arab people, especially Egyptian people. So it is, I think, the way the people think in this time, and this type of steps. They think this is a type of dance, something like this. So this is exactly one of her famous steps, or one of her famous performance. The story was, for me, when I found it, I was very happy to know exactly what was before the Badia casino and what had happened exactly. So that is something had happened before, let me say, the golden era, but was the sparkle for the golden era. The new dancers who did a lot of wonderful things, and they changed it, or they keep changing the way the society think of the dancers. I hope you like this story, which is, I think, nice story in somewhat, or in somewhere, tragedy in another, and very bad in something, but I hope you like it. If you have any comment, and I'm happy if I receive any comment from you about this story and any other stories of what I explained to you before, please write me all your questions and your comments about this story and about what is in your mind. I will be very happy to receive it. And please, also, I'm asking you again and again and again, stay with me and also subscribe with me. There is still much more stories I love to share with you. Thank you very much, and see you again very soon.